Hey, all you super players out there. For those of you who don't know, Bandai just announced a few days ago the results for the poll they did a while back, where they asked what old leaders players wanted kind of revamped for Set 9. And these five leaders are the five that that we chose. We're just going to kind of go over them and kind of take a look and see what exactly maybe they could do to improve them, or like just kind of keep the spirit of the card because it's pretty cool. A lot of the cards we selected were cards that are have very unique effects that we don't really have other places in the game. So I'm really hoping that when they go through and change them and update them, they kind of keep the spirit of the old cards. So first off, we're going to go over hit. On the front side, when it attacks, it gains 5k power for the duration of the turn. Awaken life 4 or less. Draw 2 cards and flip it over. And the awaken side is when this card attacks, draw 1 card, and this card gains 5k power for the duration of the turn. Auto once per turn. When your opponent activates blocker, you may place 1 red card from your hand to the drop area. If you do so, negate blocker. So there's kind of two ways they could go with this card. They could keep in with the theme of getting rid of blockers. They could update it to be like your opponent just can't block while it's flipped or something along that. Assassin Hit actually is the fact that it's 15 on the front side is actually pretty strong. So really all they'd have to change for the front side is maybe make it draw a card when it attacks a leader specifically. Pretty much all of these, a common thread thing that's wrong with them that needs to be updated is they have to draw on their front side to kind of be viable. But the other thing they could go, and actually this is the one I kind of hope that they change because outing blockers isn't really that interesting. But if you notice, a lot of the hit cards have the effect of you can warp them during your turn and then bring them back on your opponent's next turn. Kind of that whole time skip thing from the show. And I think it would be really cool if they incorporated that into your leader. For example, they could have a flip side say once per turn, select one battle card you control, cost 4 or less, warp it, and then at the beginning of your next turn, bring it back into play. Not only would that like protect it from your opponent's effects, but it also would re-trigger enter the battlefield autos, which could be a really cool way to play this card, kind of recycle your enter the battlefields. Uh, I think that you'd probably have to limit it to 4 or less, or maybe 5 or less, because obviously we can't be really rough if you're bringing back Goji to 7 every turn or something like that. But for example, could really be cool with the 4-drop hit that warps 2 cards out of their hand. You could just attack with it and then cycle it, get it back again, warp another 2 cards. Could kind of be a cool new strategy we don't have. So I really hope they go through his theme of cards for this specific leader. The next one is Sun Gohan. When this card attacks, if Sun Goku is in your drop area, this card gains 5k power for the duration of the turn. 4 or less, awaken, draw 2. This is another one where they could pretty easily put when this card attacks, draw a card on it to help kind of bring it up to snuff with the new cards. On the backside, auto, when this card attacks, draw 1. Activate battle once per turn. Remove all cards on your drop area from the game. This card gains 5k power and triple strike. Instead, oh, and then it has the description for triple strike. That's funny. Then at the end of the turn, you lose the game. So something they could do to this one doesn't need a whole lot of modification. It's already got a cool, unique effect. I definitely like the fact that it's active battle gain triple strike. They could do something in the frame of like give it quad strike. It'd be really kind of a cool way to do it, so that once your opponent awakens, you're already threatening them with this leader. So yeah, that could be really cool. Also needs to draw cards on the front side. Beerus, when this card attacks, if you have 3 or more energy, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 2 or less and KO it. Awaken, when you have 4 or less, draw 2 cards and flip. And then it's Awaken side. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. Then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 3 or less, and KO it. And then activate main 16 energy. Switch this card to rest mode. You win the game. So here's another one where I kind of hope they take descriptions from the cards and like the support for them rather than uh, like trying to keep him around like pay 16, you win the game. I feel like that's just like not realistic in the game. And if you effect like that, if you reduce it enough, so take it down to 10 or something like that, then the game becomes like, in order for that effect to be competitive, it has to be like not fun. It has to be either too good or just not playable. Just because it's when the game is obviously so powerful. But one thing they could do, obviously, to make this card a lot more competitive is draw on the front side, and I think you should reduce that to if you have 2 or more energy. choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, 2 or less, and KO it. 3 is just the game's already like 60% of the way done by then. Honestly, they could probably just take away that ability and it would be completely fine. It could literally just be when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's 2 or less drops and KO it, and it would not be overpowered at all. Uh, Also, drawing on the front side. Um, One thing they could do with this card, which I think would be interesting, is since Beerus's deck is all about ramping, they gave us the new Whist Destruction's Aid card recently. That would be kind of cool, which is basically another 4 copies of Objection. It's just when you play a draw card, pay 2 blue. If your leader card is blue Beerus, put this in your energy and rest mode. And I like the idea of maybe trying to make Whist Judge of the Gods the win condition for this. So have it just be a heavier ramp deck into Whist or something like that. Could be real interesting. One effect I think that could be cool we don't have is they could have an effect of when you place an energy in your energy area, uh, other than at the beginning of your turn, untap 1 energy. That could be a really cool way to make like a competitive ramp leader and kind of keep it in tune while still having it be different than like Ramp Gogeta. Because a lot of times when you're playing these ramp cards like Whis or Objection, you're tapping yourself out a lot of times. Same with like the 4-drop Whis. Another thing they could do is since he's so tied in with all these Whis support cards, you could have him reduce the cost of Whis. Say like your Whis cost 1 less energy or 2 less energy so you can get those ramp and those Whis cards down faster. So yeah, either of those ways would be a really cool way to do it. Maybe they'll just take the easy route and make his active main cost less to bring him up to competitive snuff, but I really hope they go through and make like the Whis Beerus interactions, more interesting and more competitive. Next we have Metacooler. Auto, when you place this card in your leader area, choose 1 Big Yeti star from your deck and place it in the battle area in active mode. And I apologize if I'm horribly mispronouncing that card. I haven't watched the Metacooler movie, so yeah, sorry. When your life is at 4 or less, draw 2, flip it over. And then activate made once per turn. If 3 or more Cooler or Metacooler are in play, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. When this card attacks, place 3 cards from the top of your deck in your drop area. Choose 1 Metacooler or Metacooler core from your drop area. Add it to your hand. So 2 things they could do like right away to make this card any more interesting is have him mill on the front. Have him be like burst 3 draw card. Because the Metacooler Cooler support card is all about getting stuff out of your graveyard. And one other thing that you could do that'd be really interesting is have him make Metacooler Awaken and active Unit Absorb skills cost 2 less. Because right now, pretty much no matter what you do to this card, so long as it costs 5 to go from Metacooler Core to Infinite Force, it's never going to be even close to competitive. It's just too much for what you get. So what we could do is take the Metacooler Core, have it cost 3 instead of 5 with our leader ability, and all of a sudden doing this on turn 3 becomes a lot more viable. It also allows you to use your evolve of this cooler for 2, which allows you to awaken when your opponent's at 4 life. So that could be another cool thing you could do. But yeah, because unless you reduce this chain's cost, you're never going to be able to play this leader. Another thing is they need to make his backside a cooler as well as a meta cooler. Do like one of the little slashes, because the extra card that they gave us that recycles your Gede stars only works if you have a cooler leader, which he is on the front side but not the back side. So yeah, that's something they really need to change. There's a lot of stuff that has to need to change for this leader to be good. Not impossible though, and it has its own unique deck, so I would really like to see them kind of improve Metacooler. Also, I love mill strategies, so this would also be really cool for that. Next up, the one everyone's been waiting for, SS3 himself, Son Goku. So yeah, I'm surprised that they're going to try and revamp this card, as currently it's broken in several different ways. For those of you who don't know what it does, permanent, you can only place up to 6 energy. Place 1 card from your hand in the drop area. If you have no energy, choose 2 cards from your life and add them to your energy. When you have 4 or less, draw 2 cards and flip this over. So basically, you get to start at 6 life, so you only need to hit 2 to awaken, and you get to start at 2 energy, which are both insane. And then Still only have 6 energy. At the end of your turn, choose up to 3 of your energy and switch them to active mode. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. So this is all the other ones needed a buff to be playable. This one obviously being the first ban card in the game, I believe. Uh, it needs nerfs. So things they can do, what they'll probably do is reduce the amount of energy you can have total. So if they made it 4 energy, like you're gonna have 4 energy total, would that be enough? It's still really scary. I think that might still be too good. We'll have to see. It's hard to nerf because I guess you could take away the front side effect. That'd make it a little bit better. Or they could maybe make it untap 1 or 2. But all of these effects are just so insane that like having this in the game, even at a nerf state, just completely invalidates like 50% of leaders out there. That was one of the big problems with this is there was literally zero reason to play any other leader in the entire game when this was out. It was just so strong and so generic. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure they're going to make it so that you can only play 4 energy and that's going to be the balance. Maybe they could do that and maybe just take away the energy ramp. That could be interesting. So have it be, instead of starting with 2 energy, you still start with 1 and maybe just draw a card on its front side. And then have the untap 3, but you can only get a max of 4. That could be interesting. You could make it so you could only ever get 3 energy maybe. Like reduce it to 3. Maybe at that point, uh, it's actually weak enough where you have to play things on both players' turns to like make up for that. I don't know. We'll have to see. It'll be really interesting how they try and balance this thing. I'm really scared that they're not going to hit it enough though, and it's just going to be a problem again. But we'll see. I guess I'm glad I kept my foil copy so I can play it again. But yeah, what do you guys think they're going to do with these leaders? Do you have any ideas for improvements? Do you think they're going to keep it like this, where you're going to keep the old strategies, or are they going to go ahead and go forward and just give you completely new effects with just the character? Like they could do that. They could go through since we only have what 1, 2 other hit leaders. There's no Gohan, Goku. Like these are all leaders that don't have other leaders of the same character. I know it's a Goku, but I don't think we have another SS3 Goku leader. Um, but yeah, so a couple things they could do. Let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, write down in the comments. And go out there, play some Super, have some fun.